Right, so another video. Here we are at my local track, Croft, for race 1, and as you can see, it is slightly damp, and you may also notice no rear view camera, and I am talking over the top of the video instead of being in the car again. This is my error. We were watching some footage from qualifying on the TV through our laptop, and I left the SD card in the laptop before I went out for track. So what you're currently watching is the SD card from the rear view camera that's been put in the front one, so that we had basically front footage for the race and judicials, all of that. But it also means that at least we get something to talk over rather than a rear view and just listen to us talk about something that's happening in front. So yet again, make the best of a bad job. But race 2 is back to normal, but for race 1 it's going to be another talk over video. But a lot did happen during this video, so I don't know how much I actually talked anyway. So as I say, Croft, my local track, little bit damp, makes it a little bit more interesting to try and get temp in these semi-slick tyres. Struggle with the rears a little bit, but it's not too bad. As you can see, there's damp patches on the track, but no standing water, and you know, it's not going to take many laps before that dry line, you know, is really starting to come through. The rain isn't that heavy at this point, even though I think from memory lap 2 does seem to get very, very slippy as the track's drying out, as I believe Edmondson found through the chicane, as he did a very nice pirouette, but still managed to recover a beat, so what do you do? Yeah, so really disappointed, if I'm honest, after qualifying. You know, we had reasonably good pace, good enough for a top 10 in qualifying, doing multiple laps that were good enough, but unfortunately an error on my behalf meant that, yeah, we ended up back in P15. So essentially through the back S section, through the Jim Clark S's, through the right-hander, there's a red and white curbing on the exit. I will point it out in one of the laps when it's not so hectic. Yeah, basically I use the red and white curbing, and the red and white curbing ends, and I stay off track. So my tyres go over the white line, and I get done for track limits twice in a row on my 2 fast laps, meaning that I'm basically put into P15, which is my sort of only valid lap. That was, well, I'm not even going to say it was quick, but you know, quicker than what the out laps were and stuff like that. So yeah, only good enough for P15. It put a bit of a down on the weekend. You know, a lot of my family and friends came up to watch this, and you know, I wanted a pretty good showing, so to put it P15 wasn't exactly what I wanted. But needless to say, I thought this start matters. Let's see what we can do. And yeah, quite a lot of pressure put on this left foot at this start, trying to balance the throttle and the clutch, and make sure we get the best start possible. So you can see the rain is about stopped on the windscreen. Holding it on the bite point. Oh, we're not quite ready to go yet. So all I'm looking for here is, I'll be looking in my rear view mirror to see whether the ambulance and everything and the green flags at the back of the track, and that gives me some form of indication when the lights are going to come on at the front, essentially. There is a 5-second board put out before the lights as well, and you normally tell that because that's the point when I normally put the handbrake on. So looks like I'm getting ready. I'm looking in my mirror. Yep, so handbrake is on, trying to find the bite with my left foot. You can hear not too high in the revs, balancing a bit, hardly any wheel spin, nearly a flat shift into second gear, and there's 3 positions off the line. I do Stevens as well, so that's 4, and I'm going to do McDonald down into turn 1, so that's 5 positions before turn 1. We'll take that, catch a little bit of gravel, just pushing my luck a little bit with the amount of grip, but that's job done. I couldn't have asked for much more there from the start of that race. Really happy with that. Right, we're in behind Kite now, and actually I'm going to give him credit now as well. Kite this round was absolutely on fire. I think he set the fastest lap of the race in race 1, so very, very quick going this weekend indeed. Go slightly outside here just to try and find a little bit of grip, and I do indeed. I follow Redford, and this was one of the very big moments at the start of the race. Kirkpatrick just tucks in, trying to follow Redford through the corner, and I believe his mirror was folded in. Didn't realise I was actually that close to the back of Redford. Obviously Kite was directly straight behind me, so there's not that much I could have done. Did apologise to him after, because it was only that car control that actually saved him from going the barriers, so fair play Sam. Managed just to recover that by going that far off track, and went round the outside of McDonald through Sunny in, Sunny out. Much respect, you know, he could have quite easily opened the door and pushed me off, but that's what I like to see, good racing. Kite managed to get back through at this point, and if I'm honest, my focus at this point was just to try and keep going forward. Feeling the car was pretty good, and you know, I felt like the car switched on very, very quickly for the start of this race. But here we go, lap 2, sorry, and this is what I remember, it being pretty greasy this lap. So I think you're going to notice Kirkpatrick has a bit of a moment in turn 1, gets a bit of gravel. Kite's just being patient there, figuring out where Kirkpatrick's going. And I think I have a little moment here heading towards the chicane. Yeah, a little bit of oversteer. It's a bit risky there, going through there in top of 3rd, 4th gear, about 100 mile an hour, and that chicane is pretty much blind as you go towards it. So on the brakes, down to 3rd. You can see we're catching Max Edmondson up after his excursion, or his pirouette through the chicane. Kite's done a round the outside move on Kirkpatrick, which is the move that I did on him on the first lap. Great move. And you'll notice I'm a little bit hesitant maybe through the first parts of them corners, but then through the later stage got a bit of commitment. Down into 3rd gear, all the pack is actually pretty bunched up at this point, so everyone's just sort of finding what grip is on track, to which there wasn't really that much. But we're still on track, we're keeping it good. Kirkpatrick's, I don't know whether he's gone for a move there or going defensive, but what you're going to see here is I just set it up a bit wider, and I thought he was going to tuck in behind Kite here, so I go down the right hand side and he just goes right into the side of my car, which is not brilliant, but he doesn't push us wide, so fair play Sam. I think that was just another case of you know, he's going to be looking left for the apex, he's not even going to be thinking about looking right. But as you can see, his mirror is now folded out, so he can't see where I am. The best case for here is just, I'll leave him a bit of room, he gets through the corner, I tuck back in, and we get back to just looking forward. Now you can see Kirkpatrick's car's mirrors are both folded in, and both my mirrors are folded in. This is just a scenario, always we see Campy having a huge moment through the chicane. As a driver, racing with both mirrors folded in is incredibly hard. You know, you can't actually hear that much what's going on around you regarding the other cars, and it makes it incredibly difficult. So, passing Jackson White, I believe we were actually lapping him, so I take it he started from the pits or had a slow start. Kirkpatrick with some serious commitment through the early part of the corner, but then I've managed to keep it flat through the next bit, whereas he was held up. Goes for a lunge on Sunny in, but that's not going to quite work. A little tap there, but manages to filter back into Sunny in. So far, I'm looking at my mirror thinking, you know what, we'll take where we're at the moment. We're inside this top 10 position. It's exactly where we want to be to get this reverse grid. Notice up ahead there's quite a lot going on, a lot of cars side by side, which is, you know, why they're tripping over themselves a little bit, and we're managing to almost stay with them. Not to mention, I've got to admit, Ryan and myself did a pretty good job of reading where this car should have been. The setup was almost perfect for race 1, if I'm honest. It was, you know, forgiving enough and what have you on the rear end that we didn't really have many moments, but it wasn't that understeer either. It was pretty much doing what I wanted to do. So Top job, Ryan. I think we about nailed it, man. So, through the chicane that I always wince at, that always sounds so brutal on a car, because you've got to clip both them curbs to make sure you keep the commitment and the speed through it. You can see no one's really braking that late yet. Just, you know, trying to find grip essentially. It's, you know, it doesn't look that slippy on camera, but you know, it was one of them conditions where, you know, a little bit offline or here and there, the cars felt really loose. I don't know what happened to Redford there, whether he missed a gear. Whoa, as we nearly nibbled the butt of him as he just closes the door a little bit through there. That could have been a bit of a nasty one if we're not backed out. Yeah, he must have missed a gear there, or got amongst some cars or something, because he's back on pace now. There's nothing seems to be wrong with his car. Into the right-hander. Oh, you can see I tried to carry the speed in third there, and the pack just slowed down a bit more than I thought, so I had to put it down into second gear. I do think we struggle a little bit out that last hairpin. You know, it'd be nice to see at this point in the rear view camera when there was a driver right on my bumper, but taking the fact we haven't gone defensive, that there wasn't anyone that close to us. You can see Redford's car, it just seems like it's always on the verge of oversteer on the way into corners, so looking very, very loose. Oh, there's through that chicane. Oh, as we have a bit of a moment ourselves through it. That wouldn't have been ideal if we'd clipped a bit of grass through there, because that wall on the left is a bit closer than what you think. See cars in front sliding a lot. Just a case of these back tyres, you know, they don't take a, you know, they do take quite a lot to get a bit of temperature in them, and I take the track conditions are just not getting them quite in that window, or people's got a fairly dry setup on the car, and it's making it a little bit loose for the conditions. So we're noticing we're quite racy on Redford here. We seem to be quite quick through sunny in, sunny out, and through this complex section on his car there. Just seems a while for his car to get settled through that. A little bit of a lock-up. Then we're going to go for a move that wasn't really on. Nibble a bit of curb here, and he's just tightened the door. And you can see I'm trying to keep full lock on to make sure I don't push him off track. I apologise for it. It was my mistake. You know, he's basically looking for his apex at that point, and I've gone for a move that wasn't really enough on for us to make that stick. So, yep, everyone makes a mistake now and again, and that was one. And I did apologise to him after, saying, look, you know, mate, sorry about that one. It was a misjudgment on my behalf, no hard feelings sort of job. So, flat through in fourth, up into fifth gear. You can see just losing a bit of legs down this straight. We did notice, as I say, this was the first time with a new engine in, and when I say a new engine, all it was another scrapyard engine. But yeah, it doesn't seem too bad on power. Maybe not quite as fit as some of the top motors, but you know, it is what it is. Now I can't remember whether it was this lap or not, but as we go through this right-hander before sunny in, is it this lap? No, it'll be next lap. So unfortunately, you can see Kite, who is 3 positions in front of us here, he has really quite a big and serious incident just before sunny in on the left hand side into the wall, goes in backwards and rolls his car. Luckily he's absolutely spot on. His car would seen, you know, better days, but Pralois did a fantastic job and got his car back out for race 2, so fair play to them. But yeah, I could be wrong in watching. We'll watch this back together. On the way into sunny in, I'm fair sure I noticed the car feels a little bit looser through that right-hander than it did previous laps. And I don't know whether what I heard through the paddock is that he'd had a CV boot or a CV joint failure, putting grease onto his rear tyres, meaning that he lost the back end of the car, and that forced him to go off. It wasn't driver error. It was something mechanical with the car that had gone. Now, if that is true, we'll watch it here and see whether it looks a little bit looser for me. Going through there, you know, it might say that is what it was. So into fourth gear, into fifth through this right. This is the track that I was on about for track limits. So make sure I'm not over that white line. And as we go in right here, is it this lap? No, it's not even this lap. It's going to be next lap. So yeah, that was the section of track there that I got done for track limits. So yeah, a little bit harsh. Doesn't really gain you anything. It's just one of them things of, you know, on track days and that I always just run it a little bit wider there on the way, and it's, you know, an overlook by my point, and it was very costly for the qualifying because who knows where I could have been in this race had I have had a slightly better qualifying session. So it is what it is. We move on. But so far we've gone from P15. I think we're currently sat P9. I think P9. So inside that top 10, thinking, you know what, a front row race 2 start will do me very, very nicely, and I'll just get my head down. I feel like we've actually got pretty good speed here. Maybe not ultimate outright pace, but maybe only like half a second off where we need to be. And you know what, half a second I would say is almost defendable to bring on the race. So we're thinking, you know, if we can get this front row start next race, we could be coming home on the podium. So we'll see what we can do. Don't know why I've still got my wiper on, because at this point I think it's pretty much stopped raining. Flat in fourth, little shift into fifth on the exit the corner, and this unfortunately, yeah, there's the lock up there. Now does it look a bit loose here? Yes. There, do you see it just on the turn into the corner? Just a little bit of a flick of oversteer. I could be wrong, but I'm almost sure that might have been on the fluid or whatever was on the floor. That kite's rear wheels hit that, put him into the wall. Very, very unfortunate. No one likes to see it. But good job to our lawyers, as I said, to get by in. And there's the red flag. It was called, right call, almost straight away. Get the ambulance straight to see, make sure he's alright. So that's what we like to see. Quick response from the marshals and all of that. But yeah, we're going to queue up on the grid, but because the race distance was, I think, 75% done, they ended up calling this race. So we'll take that a P9, or I think it ended up being a P8 because Kite was the cause of the red flag. So we gain a position. So we start from P3 in race 2. And I tell you what a treat it's going to be. It was a particularly wet one and the toughest driving conditions I've ever drove in. So, yep, until next video, I'll catch you all then. Make sure you like and subscribe the video. And as I say, next Thursday, it's going to be a good one. See you in a bit.